Ever notice how love feels sweetest after heartbreak? Joy feels amazing, but have you thanked sadness for making it possible? And why do your biggest breakthroughs come right after your biggest meltdowns? Yeah, the universe planned it that way. Welcome to the Law of Polarity. Wanting positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting negative experience is a positive experience. The backwards law suggests that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. Today we will explore the law of polarity through 6 rare prisms. Each perspective, from alchemical symbolism to philosophy, highlights different aspects of how polarity operates within us and the universe. In spiritual traditions, the law of polarity invites us to see duality not as opposition, but as complementary forces. Okay, now what does this mean actually? A profound example of this can be explored through night, yin, and day, yang. Think of day and night as the inhale and exhale of the planet's breath. Day brings light, warmth, and activity, while night offers coolness, rest, and reflection. Yet they are not two separate entities. Rather, they flow seamlessly into one another, forming a single cycle of time. In fact, there is no real distinction between them. It is nothing but an endless rotation of the Earth. When the sun sets, it does not disappear. It simply moves to illuminate another part of the Earth. The same sun, the same Earth, and the same turning motion create both the brightness of day and the stillness of night. Day contains night, just as night carries the potential of day within it. Think of the night as a time of rest and introspection, yin, and the day as a period of action and expression, yang. Without the quiet, reflective nature of night, the energy required to thrive during the day would not exist. Without the activity and vitality of the day, the stillness of night would feel meaningless and stagnant. Now imagine someone who tries to resist this natural rhythm. A person who constantly works, yang, without rest, yin, burns out, their energy depleted because they have neglected the regenerative power of stillness. On the other hand, someone who avoids action and remains perpetually at rest stagnates, unable to engage with the world. In a relationship, you might experience polarity as tension. One partner is more expressive, the other more reserved. Instead of seeing these traits as opposing forces that clash, spiritual growth happens when you see how they complement each other. The expressiveness inspires openness, while the reserve provides grounding. Together they create balance. Prism 2. The law of polarity also reveals a profound tension between being and becoming. Human existence is characterized by a pull between these states. Being is the acceptance of what is, contentment, presence, and peace. Becoming is the striving for what could be, growth, ambition, and evolution. Hegel assures us that being, pure existence, inevitably unfolds into becoming, as the static cannot sustain itself without transformation. To exist is to be in a constant state of flux, a synthesis of rest and motion. The seed becomes the tree, the individual becomes the collective, and the moment becomes eternity. Yet in all these processes, the essence of being remains. In the philosophy of existentialism, particularly in the works of Martin Heidegger, the concepts of being toward death and authenticity reveal this polarity. Heidegger posits that awareness of our mortality, the inevitability of death, gives life its urgency and authenticity. If life were eternal, choices would lack weight or meaning. The finite nature of existence forces us to engage with life deeply, making every decision matter. Without death, life would be static, a perpetual, unchanging existence devoid of growth or transformation. It is the very presence of death that propels life forward, creating the motion of becoming. Resisting death through denial or fear leads to an inauthentic life, a superficial engagement where we avoid deeper truths. Embracing it, however, allows for a fuller participation in the polarity of existence, living vibrantly because we know it is finite. Prism 3. The connection between the law of polarity and the law of vibration is one of the most fascinating aspects of how our reality functions. At its core, it reminds us that opposites aren't as separate as we think. They're just two ends of the same energetic spectrum. When you truly understand this, the way you experience and interact with emotions, situations, and even people transforms entirely. Take love and hate, for example. We're taught to see them as opposites, but they're really just different expressions of the same emotional energy. Think about it. The intensity of love and hate often feels similar. They both burn, they both consume your thoughts, and they both stem from a deep connection or attachment. This is why someone you love passionately can also provoke the deepest feelings of anger. The difference lies in the vibration. Love is a higher frequency. It expands you, makes you feel connected, light, and free. You don't have to be stuck in the vibration of hate or fear or despair. By choosing acceptance and raising your vibration, you can start moving toward love, courage, or hope. It's like tuning into a different station on the radio. The signal of love and hate comes from the same dial, but your focus determines which frequency you're experiencing. Here's the key. Acceptance is the bridge. When you fight against hate or fear, when you resist it, you keep your vibration stuck in that state. But when you accept it for what it is without judgment, you start to loosen its grip. It's not about liking the negative experience. It's about allowing yourself to feel it without becoming trapped by it. Acceptance creates a kind of energetic alchemy where the heavier vibrations start to rise. Prism 4. Polarity drives evolution, not just biologically, but spiritually and psychologically. In nature, polarity manifests in the survival dynamics between predator and prey, abundance and scarcity, or growth and decay. These forces push species to evolve. A predator evolves sharper instincts to catch its prey, while the prey evolves better defenses to survive. This constant push and pull drives innovation in the natural world, ensuring that life doesn't remain static, but constantly adapts and improves. Humans grow when pushed out of their comfort zones. The struggle of discomfort, whether through learning a new skill, enduring a hardship, or taking a risk. Physical training involves pushing muscles to their limit, creating micro tears, to rebuild stronger tissue. The tension between physical strain and recovery drives athletic evolution. Polarity creates growth. Without tension or contrast, progress would stagnate, as growth requires navigating and integrating opposing forces. Language is one of the most brilliant tools we have, but it's also a double-edged sword, a classic example of polarity in action. On one hand, language gives us the power to name, define, and communicate. On the other, it traps us in dualistic thinking. Good versus bad, right versus wrong, this versus that. Every word we use creates a pair of opposites. To call something beautiful automatically implies the existence of ugly. Labeling an experience as failure suggests its counterpart. These distinctions are useful for navigating the world, but they also box us in. We start to see life as black and white when, in reality, it's full of nuances and spectrums. Language divides the world into categories, making us forget that those divisions are artificial. Language creates the duality, but awareness of polarity can help us transcend it. When we see words not as absolute truths, but as tools for navigating a complex reality, we step out of the trap. The key is to remember that life isn't bound by the labels we give it. Prism 6. The idea that accepting negative experience is a positive experience invites us to confront the void, the space of pure nothingness. In Zen, the void, mu, is not a lack but a fullness beyond duality. It is the still point where striving ceases, and reality simply is. Chasing positivity denies this void, but surrendering to it reveals it as the ultimate source of peace. At its core, the void is not an emptiness to be feared or avoided, but rather a space pregnant with potential, a fullness that transcends the limitations of dualistic thinking. Mu represents the cessation of conceptual striving, where the ego's desperate attempts to label experiences as positive or negative dissolve into pure being. This dissolution of duality is captured in the Zen mind riddle. Does a dog have Buddha nature? Mu. The answer is not in affirmation or negation, but in inviting the practitioner into the space of unknowing, where truth is encountered beyond words. Zen teaches that in surrendering to the void, accepting pain, confusion, and loss without resistance, we discover the true nature of peace. This peace is not the fleeting comfort of pleasure, but a deep alignment with reality as it is, unfiltered and unadorned. Mu invites us to let go of binary thinking, including the rigid distinctions between existence and non-existence, positive and negative, self and other. Thank you for going with me on this wisdom quest of duality. If you enjoyed the ride, check out other videos on the universal laws